Tom's Science is a discussion program between Tomoki, the host, and thinkers, researchers, and others. Welcome to Tom's Science. We will be discussing another interesting topic today. Please begin by watching the following video. Hey Michael, do you think it's true that drinking milk makes you taller? Don't look it up on your phone. Many of you may have had this conversation before. As you saw in the video earlier, today's topic is the relationship between milk and hate. Today's discussion members are Daniel, a thinker, and John, a scientist. So, enjoy the show. Hello everyone, I'm Daniel, introduced as a thinker. My argument is that more milk makes you taller. So, I'm going to talk about the relationship between milk and hate. First, let me introduce the ingredients of milk. The milk in this picture is commonly drunk in Japan. 100 milliliters of milk contains 114 milligrams of calcium. This means that you can get calcium efficiently by drinking milk. Next, I focused on calcium intake because there was little historical data on milk intake. First, this data shows changes in calcium intake and average height. As calcium intake increased, average height increased. In summary, drinking milk can provide a large amount of calcium. In addition, drinking milk can increase height. These are my arguments. I'm John, a researcher. In your story, Daniel, you talked about calcium intake and average height, and I thought those relationships were pseudo correlations. So, I'm going to look at the possibility of pseudo correlationships. Pseudo-correlation is a phenomenon in which a correlation between variables is observed, but the correlation doesn't imply direct causation. For example, weight and income may seem to correlate, but in reality, this may stem from an association with age. Next, we saw that GDP, an indicator of a country's affluence, might be correlated with calcium intake and average height. So, We looked at each the hypothesis is milk intake and hate were pursued correlated and each is correlated with GDP. This is what the hypothetical diagram looks like. First, we looked at the correlation between GDP and hate. The figure on the left is a scatter plot of GDP and hate. The correlation coefficient was 0.89, indicating a strong correlation. Then I looked at the correlation between GDP and calcium intake. The figure on the left is a scatter plot of GDP and calcium intake. The correlation coefficient was 0.53, indicating a correlation. They found a correlation between GDP and calcium intake and between GDP and hate. This suggests that the correlation between calcium intake and hate is a pseudo correlation. Thank you. Did you enjoy the discussion? I found it difficult to say that correlation alone is causation. Also, milk intake and hate were considered to be pseudo correlated.